Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Sightless Flame. Episode 3. Chapter 32. You have no right to question me, he said. You have no right to question or keep me here either, Sabrina muttered back. I owe you no explanation, I'm no subject of yours, she let out again. He stared at her like she had lost a nut from her head. She seemed to be strong and quite stubborn, and he had seen nothing like this. Your rogue lover is in another cell, he is being taken care of and I made sure not to harm him, he muttered with sarcasm lacing all his speech. I think you can reply to my own question since I answered yours, he said before taking a seat in the empty chair. Sabrina guessed the chair was kept for visitors who came to visit prisoners. She scoffed before moving to the end of the cell to seat. You have no right to ask me such a question, you are keeping people here unjustly and I guess you should ponder on your wrongdoing, she muttered, making him hit the gate in anger. How dare you, filthy rogue, he said in anger before banging the gate. I hope you break the gate so I can leave, Sabrina muttered, trying to get him angrier. Some of your rogues have caused trouble around my pack, and seeing from your speech, I know you are the one leading such trouble as a pack, he muttered, but she ignored him. All right, I guess you didn't know the little girl is in a different cell too. I don't need answers from you, I can get my answers from her, he said, making Sabrina sprang up. She walked towards the prison gate. You dare not lay a finger on that little soul or you might end up regretting it, she said firmly without flinching one bit. Wait, are you threatening me? He asked. Call it whatever you want to, but don't you dare, mark my words, she said. How tough, I was here to help you and your friends but I changed my mind, I would leave you to serve the punishment for your violation, he said. Violation? She muttered with a laugh. How is this possible? He muttered. I know you are surprised at how foolish you can be, she muttered. How is it possible that I have you as a mate? He muttered, making her shocked. Take back your words, you coward, Sabrina muttered angrily. She hated those words from his lips. To say he was shocked by her reaction was amusing. Sabrina knew that he was muttering nonsense. There was no way she was having a mate again. No man was going to tie her down to a stupid lie of finding a mate or anything. There was no way. Don't really know who has been fooling you with stupid stories about mate, but no such thing is real. Moreover, don't you dare refer to me as a mate, Sabrina muttered. I think you should man up and let us go, then play tricks with me, because it won't be funny if I get a hold of you, she muttered. I don't know what you are talking about, but I would get the doctor, he muttered before leaving. It had been 2 days and Sabrina's motherly emotions were playing with her. All her thoughts had been clouded with Cain and Abel. Were they okay? Were the people doing okay? She had been skimping on a plan. She wanted to escape with all her might, but she needed to strike a good plan. She thought of the guard who had always brought her food. He wasn't that friendly, but she was going to hit her luck with him today. The moment the door plunged open, she held onto her tummy. My tummy, she muttered before falling to the floor. She knew she had to increase the pace of her acting. Gaction's guard was going to fall for it. She began to shake uncontrollably. A little smile crept on her cheeks when the guard began to open the gate. Guys, he said, moving close to Sabrina. He tried to touch her but she held his hand before he could touch any part of her body. She rolled before using her legs to kick him in the head. "Have I told you how I hate men who attempted to touch a woman?" she muttered before punching him on the nose. He staggered back. He tried to attack her but she jumped before hitting him hard in the stomach. He whimpered in pain before he went on his knees and to the floor. "I wonder why he keeps you, weak wolves, as his guards," she muttered before stripping him. She fixed on his guard's clothes before locking him. "Please don't hate me when you wake up. I really miss my boys," she muttered, picking up the bunch of keys from the gate. She blocked her scent before leaving to find Marcus. She was thankful that the guard who she had beaten up wasn't that tall. He was almost her height so they weren't going to be suspicious of her. She was glad that he had a face cap. "Hey Carson, did you check on her?" two guards who stood guarding the gate asked, making her nod as she walked quickly. "What's wrong with him?" she heard them say but she gladly ignored them. She traced his scent and in a few minutes, she had found him. "Marcus," she let out calmly, she didn't want to drag attention. "Sabrina, is that you?" he asked as she nodded. She opened the cell before pulling him into a hug. "Are you okay? Did that monster make them hurt you?" she asked him. "Calm down Sabrina, I was worried about you. You got knocked down by the head," he said, trying to see where she got hit. "That's fine," she muttered. "We need to leave before they get an inch," he said trying to pull her but she didn't let him. "What?" he asked. "Cindy, she is here," she muttered. "No, who told you she was here?" "We were the only ones brought here," he said. "That?" she scoffed under her breath before running along with Marcus. They needed to escape this pack no matter what. "What should we do right now?" Sabrina asked, trying to push the window but it seemed locked from outside. "There is no way we can fight those guards, they are a lot of them," Sabrina muttered yet again. She couldn't exhaust her wolf. She might end up blind if her wolf gets exhausted and shuts down her eyes. I think there is a door, we just have to take our chances to see if it leads somewhere," Marcus muttered as they walked right through the door. There were multiple steps and a licking ceiling that kept dripping water. The place stinked of old items. After walking for 3 more minutes, Sabrina almost jumped in happiness when they were finally outside the cool night breeze. "We need to run, it won't be long before they notice that we are gone," Marcus wisely said before they began to run like their life depended on this. There were fences everywhere and they looked like they were dangerous. "What are we going to do right now?" Sabrina asked Marcus. "There is a gate if we move further down," he muttered. "How do you know all this?" Sabrina asked. "My wolf moon," he muttered with a smile as they ran to find safety. Just like they had thought, the voice of people coming from afar began to echo little by little to their ears. "They are getting closer, you need to run like you have never done Sabrina," Marcus muttered, making her run more. At this rate, Sabrina seemed exhausted and weak but she wasn't planning on giving up. Her sweet babies were home and waiting. They were finally in the woods. They kept hitting leaves and pushing insects who were tossing on leaves. The thumping of heart and puffing of breath was heard as they kept running so they didn't get caught. Finally, they made it to the camp. They both kept panting and sweating hard. Falling to the dirty ground was the only choice to calm them down. The members began to show up with their lamp. They seemed happy and at the same time tired. They had been worried sick about the two of them, and seeing that they were fine enlightened their mood. What should we do right now? Sabrina asked, trying to push the window, but it seemed locked from outside. There is no way we can fight those guards, they are a lot of them, Sabrina muttered yet again. She couldn't exhaust her wolf. She might end up blind if her wolf gets exhausted and shuts down her eyes. We are glad that you're okay, they kept muttering while hugging them. Sabrina went towards her sleeping babies before pecking them. Mama is home, she said with a smile. It has been a week since the rogues last encountered discomfort from that stupid pack, and they had hoped that they never had any more rencounter, but that was all nonsense because right now that wolf who said he was Sabrina's so-called mate was at their rogue border. He had threatened to burn down their place if he couldn't speak to Sabrina. What are you doing at the rogue borders? She asked harshly. He hadn't answered the first question before she lashed him another. How did you find us? She asked, and he gave that appealing smile that could make every girl's heart race, but not Sabrina. I think I might arrest you and your men for crossing my border. You might have come here to sneak on us, and that is like a violation, she went further. Mate! He muttered. Sabrina's fist grew, making her direct a punch to his face. The guard he had come with tried to attack, but he stopped them. Let them attack, I can beat them black and blue. Don't you come here talking shit about mate, that doesn't exist. Sabrina muttered. A piece of advice from me, having a mate is fake, it is like wasting your valuable time. Wait, weren't mates supposed to feel the pull? I guess it's supposed to be something mutual, right? She muttered. I don't even feel anything, she muttered yet again. Him standing close to her was beginning to make her feel irritated. You are so dumb, you don't even know anything about mate, he muttered, making Sabrina smirk. He was delusional like she thought. I don't care about me being your mate as you claim. Being a rogue only makes me focus on one thing, and that is surviving. Just leave because that doesn't include you, she said. You must love being a rogue, he muttered. Yes, it's the only place where you get to live free without any stupid laws, she said with a scoff. Moreover, the fact that you claim I'm your wolf doesn't give you the right to come here. You might get hurt badly if you persist, Sabrina muttered. Why do you hate anything that has to do with mates so much? He asked. I don't plan on telling you anything personal, this is like a waste of your precious time, she muttered. The smile on Simon's face seemed to fade the moment he heard those words slip out of her mouth. His face turned into a frown. If I don't have you, then your rogue friends might pay, he said cowardly. You dare not, or I might kill you with my bare hands. She muttered firmly. Moreover, I am not afraid of you or your untrained guards. She let out, flicking her hair. This is like part of my border. I can chase you all, but you accept that we are mates, and that instantly lightens everything, he muttered. Holy cow, you never listen or give up, do you? She said in frustration. You definitely aren't changing my mind, she said, turning to leave. I would help build your pack and give a lot of help to the rogue. Wait, what do you want? He asked. I want you to leave me alone, she muttered, turning to leave, but a strong hand pulled her back. She turned before giving him another slap on the same face that was punched a few minutes ago. She hated being touched by any man, she only preferred having contact with them when in rage of trying to kill them. "Don't you ever touch me, you should leave and ice those red cheeks of yours before I do more damage," she muttered, and Simon couldn't understand why she was acting this fierce towards him. "Leave," Sabrina muttered. She knew he was stronger than she was, but he simply was acting this weak because she was his mate. She hated the fact that he was being too persuasive, basically full of himself. But she planned on using him, using this foolish alpha to get her revenge. The morning sun was still dawn as the rogues had their breakfast before starting their usual work. A message was sent to Sabrina by an unknown person. She stared at the paper before flinging it open. "A dinner with me and all your problems are solved," the paper read. She squeezed the neatly sent paper before tossing the content in the dustbin. He was getting on her nerves and it was getting really frustrating for her. After the day's labor, it was night again. They all gathered at the table to eat. They had counted everybody and the number came out perfect. Nobody was out looking for strawberries to eat this time around. The minutes the food was served, the footstep of someone approaching their table got their whole attention. "What a feast! I sent you a message but you didn't reply back. I thought you were smart enough to write back." The voice of Simon echoed to the whole table and Sabrina could help but grit her teeth together. "I thought you were strong-hearted and a great leader. I thought you could catch a simple hint that you ain't wanted here, but you seem to be blocked-head to understand," she fired back. "I think you don't understand anything about being attracted to a mate," he muttered as he watched Cain and Abel intensely. "I hate repeating the same words over again, but being that you have a thick skull, you keep stressing me. I'm not your mate, don't you understand?" she muttered. "Mama," Abel muttered, rumbling her clothes. Simon was getting annoyed at her words, but he still couldn't help but wonder whose child she was holding. The fact that the boy had called her mama made him more curious. He stared around before noticing the attention of all rogues on him. He seemed to be disturbing their feast. "What are you doing here?" Marcus asked the moment he walked towards the table. "I have an unfinished business with her, not here to cause any harm, rogue," he muttered. "She seems against seeing you. I think it better you leave," Marcus said. "I do like to hear her say that herself," Simon muttered. "Me?" Sabrina muttered as the whole eye of the table members was on her. The morning sun was still dawn as the rogues had their breakfast before starting their usual work. A message was sent to Sabrina by an unknown person. She stared at the paper before flinging it open. "A dinner with me and all your problems are solved," the paper read. She squeezed the neatly sent paper before tossing the content in the dustbin. "Leave," she muttered, not blinking. Simon was mad and angry, his heart was pounding beneath his chest in anger. He wanted to use power over them, but he couldn't because of how soft the mate bond had made him look. He wanted to harm them but he couldn't. All he could do at that time was fist his hand in anger and give a forced smile. He wondered why she was scared of being with him and his pack. He wanted her to open up to him, but it was going to take a lifetime. He was once a little boy who grew among rogues, so he understood why she must be throwing tantrums. He had built up his pack from scratch and he was definitely doing everything to protect each and every one of his pack members. Simon had been staring at the ceiling for what seemed to be an hour. After a while, he hissed before staring at the moon through the window. What was he going to do? He wanted to talk to someone and he knew his adopted mother was the only option left. the woman who had taken care of him since he was little. He strolled to her bedroom door. He was about to knock but he changed his mind. He was about to leave when he heard his name. "Simon dear, why are you up so late?" she said as he turned to notice a cup of coffee in her grip. He walked towards her before pulling her into a hug. She instantly pushed the tea to the other side to avoid spilling the hot content on them. She knew her son so well, she knew he wasn't in a good mood right now. "She doesn't want me, mother. I thought I was getting a mate and a Luna. I liked that she is fierce and strong. She is just the perfect one to lead this pack," he said. "Why don't you give her time? I understand how being a rogue must feel. She might have gone through a rough time in her last pack," she said using her free hands to rub his back. "Why don't you ask her about it? Maybe, invite them over and show her you aren't like what she thinks." She said. "No," he muttered. "Why?" she questioned. "She would only embarrass me by rejecting my proposal," he let out, pulling out of the hug. A sigh escaped his lips before ruffling his already messy hair. She walked inside her room as he followed suit. She dropped her tea on the table before patting the side of the bed for him to sit. "Calm down dear, relax and take a deep breath. Nothing good comes easy, you need to fight for something you love or want," she muttered. "She entices pleasure in pushing me away, the bond feels unbearable when I'm close to her. I just can't control myself," he let out. "Invite her and her whole rogue friends, she can't resist my cooking," she muttered, making him stand up. "What if she finds out that I'm an alpha who my parents didn't want because they were drug addicts and had to sell me out?" he said. "Your parents doing what they did wasn't your fault, they lost an amazing son and they are to blame for what you have gone through. She would see how you stood up for all these people too, you are brave and I'm proud of you. If she doesn't see any of that, then I think there's another mate and Luna for you," she muttered, before pulling him into a hug. "I'm a bit surprised that you are caring about the past, I can't wait to meet this woman who got you this soft," she said. I don't like her," he groaned, making his mother ache an eyebrow. "All right, a little, but she is just too stubborn and hot-headed," he muttered, remembering the time she slapped him for calling her mate. "Wait, is that a smile plunged around your lips?" his mother teased. "No, I just thought of some joke," he lied before aiming to leave for his room, but he came right back before kissing her good night. "Don't overthink what I had said," he muttered, before closing the door. Later that night, after Sabrina twins were fast asleep with their thumbs in their mouths, she couldn't help but go out for a little breeze. After pulling out their thumb from their mouth and adjusting their sleeping position, she slowly walked out not to wake them up. She wanted to process her life. She wanted nothing to do with a mate anymore, but why does the moon goddess keep bringing her close to an alpha wolf? First, Ray. Second, Kai. She muttered his name softly. Then this, she muttered to herself again. She was wondering why this particular one was so persistent. She picked a stick from the dirty floor before drawing a circle on the floor. Maybe she needed to leave here with these people? No, she would be too far from the people she wanted to take revenge on. She knew she had no resources yet or plans set out for her revenge. The thought of using Simon came to her mind. She scoffed before throwing the stick on the floor. Like seriously, what are you thinking right now, Sabrina? She muttered under her breath. She remembered the night she was helped to escape from the Red Moon Pack. She wasn't that shaky person anymore who would break down at any torment. Nah, she wasn't letting anybody step on her like it once happened years back. In all the years that she was tormented by those heartless people, she never for once tried to fight back. She wished she stood up for herself then and just maybe things might have been different. Each passing day, her fears are gradually evaporating and consuming her with anger and revenge. She no longer quivers at little pain or the slightest injuries inflicted on her. She knew Cain and Abel made her even stronger. If she was going to protect them with all the life she had left, she needs to become stronger. Things that scared Sabrina once now made her annoyed to her bone marrow. She stared at the moon that lingered its light on their small camp. Could she protect these people while she went on with what she had planned? Sabrina didn't want to include them in her mess, but tomorrow would tell. It seems like you can't sleep, the voice of Marcus muttered. Sabrina turned before rubbing her hands together from the night cold. She watched as Marcus removed his jacket to wrap them around her shoulders. That should keep you warm while out here, he muttered. Why are you out here? She asked. Have you forgotten that we have to patrol the camp? He asked as she hit her forehead gently with her palm. Later that night, after Sabrina twins were fast asleep with their thumbs in their mouths, she couldn't help but go out for a little breeze. After pulling out their thumb from their mouth and adjusting their sleeping position, she slowly walked out not to wake them up. She wanted to process her life. She wanted nothing to do with a mate anymore, but why does the moon goddess keep bringing her close to an alpha wolf? Forgive me, she said, staring at the other patrol members. There were 6 of them watching the camp tightly. Do you still hear from your mother? I have to see her again to thank her for giving me this freedom. I wouldn't be here without her and of course you. Sabrina uttered. Yet, she sends her regards. Ray is still not better and the people aren't doing any better either. He can't get over the fact that my mother had told him you and his child died. Marcus uttered. I couldn't stay there, Marcus. I wasn't welcomed there and would never be. Those people have hurt me and I just couldn't raise my children with him, Sabrina muttered. Not only does Ray have a child with you, but one of your twins is Kai's. He knows nothing about his child with you, Sabrina, Marcus muttered. Wouldn't it be better that he knows nothing? Sabrina uttered, turning her back on Marcus. Do you still feel something for Kai? Marcus asked her. Why ask? Sabrina uttered. You cried when you found out that he mated Diana. I know you still hurt, Marcus muttered. That in the past, Marcus. It has been 3 years ever since then and I have lost every inch of love I have for him. She uttered. What's your plan? He asked her. I will tell you when the time is right, she slowly muttered before giving back his jacket to him. It would be a long night, you would need it more, she said, before leaving. Well, I can see that I'm dealing with some prick here. What if I'm your mate? Can you deal with the bad flows I have? Sabrina muttered, staring at Simon, who had come early in dawn to talk her into coming to dinner at his pack at night. Yes, you're my mate. Why don't you allow me to get to know you? Maybe, we can start as friends, Simon said pleadingly. Friends? What do I gain from coming to your pack for dinner? She asked. I mean, nothing comes for nothing, she said. What do you want? He asked. Let me break it to you then. Let's say that your supposed mate is blind and hasn't had a good time in her life. You know I once believed in a mate just like you do now, but all that is a mere nightmare, trust me. She said, and Simon couldn't help but ponder her words. He wanted to know what happened to her. Did she have a mate before him? I have the whole day to give you a listening ear. They say a problem shared is a problem solved. He murmured proudly. I always believed that finding your mate would feel like heaven. You know that feeling of having to be treated like a princess? Well, that's what I had thought finding your mate would be like. Sabrina explained before pushing her fallen hair backward. I found my mate. He was the alpha of our pack, but he rejected me. That wasn't all till we ended up having a one-night stand because we were wasted and had no idea. He got furious when we were sober. He said I seduced him and then banished me. She said, staring at the kids that stood close to the tap to brush their teeth. A man I thought would be my mate belittled me. I was blind and terrified because I had never been on my own, but fate would have it. I ended up at an enemy pack. I thought I would be dead since they killed rogues, but then I found out there was something called a second chance mate. Sabrina said before letting out an evil grin. The alpha of Dark Howler pack was my mate, she continued. I was tortured, bruised, and injured, but my second chance mate stood up for me. He was sweet to me but a mama's boy. I liked him and he did like me, no doubt, but they all hurt me badly. I thought that was all, but I later found out I was pregnant and I was having twins. They're babies. Sabrina uttered. It seems you pity me. Do you think mates are real now? Sabrina asked, but Simon only blinked his eyes. Let me answer for you. You're planning on rejecting me right now because I'm blind with kids, right? Well, good. She said, my deepest apologies to you for the wolves who don't understand what a mate bond is, but I can go any length for you to trust me and feel what a mate is. He muttered. Any length? She asked. Any length, he muttered. What exactly did your second chance mate commit for you to want to get back at them? Simon asked Sabrina. Why do you want to know? She asked curiously. Well, I understood that your first mate did reject you and treated you harshly, but you said nothing about the alpha of the Dark Howler pack, Simon muttered, hopefully staring at Sabrina for a reply. Sabrina turned away from him. She had been having second thoughts. Was she ready to give Simon all the details? Was she ready to trust him with her plans? I'd rather not tell you anything about that, she said, staggering towards the quiet place of their camp as Simon walked behind her. I know you don't trust me, but I can help you to bring down the people who have hurt you, Simon offered. I never mentioned anything close to bringing anybody down. Sabrina stopped on her track before staring at Simon. I know, Sabrina, but I can see that your heart is full of anger and revenge. You don't even feel the mate bond between us, Simon muttered. Forget the fact that I told you about what happened. You should leave, she said softly. The moment she said those words, silence fell between them. They stood staring at each other. None of them allow a word slip from their mouths. Kai's mother had my both parents killed, Sabrina uttered, and Simon seemed to look stunned as he crossed his arm around his chest to pay attention. It happened when I was just a child. She accused my mother of having to curse her pack with a blind son, she said. How? Did your mother have something to do with it? Simon asked. Of course not, my mother did nothing. She said my mother was supposed to sneak on the enemy but she mated with an enemy instead, so she killed my parents and took my eyes for her son, Sabrina muttered, remembering the memory she last saw. So, you mean her son has your eyes and you became blind? Simon asked, gritting his teeth as he ran his free hands through his dark brown curly hair. Don't you worry, their days are numbered, Sabrina muttered. What do you want me to do? I can help you with your plan but except you agree to go with my terms, Simon muttered. What exactly did your second chance mate commit for you to want to get back at them? Simon asked Sabrina. Why do you want to know? She asked curiously. I never asked for your help, Sabrina muttered in pride. But I know you would need my help, why don't we help each other? Simon muttered. What am I to help you with? Sabrina asked. A dinner with my family and your rogue friends, let's get to know each other, and let's say allow me to protect you, Simon muttered proudly. Why do you have to protect me? I can do that myself, Sabrina said. When I mean to protect you, I mean I plan on making sure all your rogue friends are safe, they can stay in my pack while I help you with your plans to put your ex-mate in pain. They would be in danger staying here, Simon muttered. Danger? Sabrina asked. Yes, when in war, your mortal enemy seems mad and would find every way possible to get back at you, but with them in my pack, I assure their safety. Simon firmly said. All right, I guess you are right, Sabrina said, turning to stare Simon straight in the eye. I think you should leave, I will see you in your pack at night, Sabrina muttered before walking away. It was evening already. Sabrina kissed Cain and Abel both on their forehead before going to take a quick shower. Right now, she had changed into a comfy gown, not something nice and expensive but something decent and comfortable for an evening dinner. She held Abel in her arms while Marcus held Cain. They all trudge into Simon's pack. Wow, I like it here, a rogue girl among them called Lucy muttered. She was between the age of 5 to 6. Don't get too comfortable, dear, we don't belong here, her mother muttered as they strolled into the pack house. Sabrina sighed before knocking on the huge entrance of the pack house. The door pulled open and a lady came into view. She seemed dressed like one of the housekeepers. Who do you want to see, madam? She muttered politely. They are my guests, let them in, winner, the voice of Simon muttered. His face had a wide grin as he scanned Sabrina's body. She couldn't stare him straight in the eye because of how his eyes danced around her figure. Come in, he muttered as everybody began to walk inside the well-decorated and big house. Sabrina gave him a small smile. You made it. I thought you weren't going to come, Simon said. Don't worry, I won't go back on my words, let's say I keep my promise. She muttered. I'd like you to meet my mother, she has been expecting you, Simon muttered before collecting Abel from Sabrina. Hello, little guy. He muttered before pinching Abel's nose playfully as the little boy let out a hearty chuckle. Simon's hands went resting on the backside of Sabrina's waist as he ushered her into his house. Mother, this is Sabrina, he muttered as the lady who Simon had referred to his mother could be mistaken as his sister. She looked young and nicely dressed. She moved forward to engulf Sabrina in a warm embrace. Oh dear, no wonder my son can't stop drooling over you. She mumbled. Common mother, Sabrina, Wouldn't be comfortable, Simon muttered, a bit embarrassed by his mother's little words. I was only stating the facts, son. She is beautiful. You are all welcome to the Sala Crescent Pack. Feel free and at home, she muttered as they were ushered into a table filled with food and drinks. Mom had this prepared by herself, Simon mumbled. Thank you, we will make sure we enjoy your food, Sabrina muttered with a little bow of respect. Everyone was settled and digging in on their food. Sabrina, right? Simon's mother asked, making her drop her cutlery on her half-finished meal. She muttered with a simple nod. Can I ask you something? Simon's mother muttered, using the neat table napkin to wipe her mouth. Sure, you can ask me anything, Sabrina muttered. Does my son have a chance with you? She asked, not seizing her gaze off Sabrina. Mother, stop it, Simon intervened. I was only joking, son. Eat up, dear, she said, rubbing Sabrina's hand. Sabrina gave a small smile before drinking from the strawberry milkshake beside her, the minute the content settled down her throat. She let out a delightful moan. This tastes so good, Sabrina muttered, making Margaret happy. Glad that you liked it. My sister used to appreciate this so much, and seeing that you like it so much reminds me of her, Margaret muttered. It's really nice, Sabrina muttered, closing her eyes to savor the strawberry in her mouth. Please, can I have more of this? She asked. Of course, dear, Margaret muttered. Sabrina watched as she walked to the kitchen to get her more of this delicious content. Sorry about everything, Simon said. Sorry for what? Sabrina asked. My mother shouldn't have asked, Simon muttered, and Sabrina already got the hint of why he was apologizing. Don't worry, I didn't get offended, she said, taking a hold of her cupcakes. Sabrina was ready to eat to her fill because everything here definitely tasted good. She was surprised at how comfortable she was with Simon's family and pack, and the rogues seemed to feel happy and free too. Despite that she wasn't in support of coming here, she would be telling an untruth if she said she wasn't enjoying her evening. I'm still going to apologize on my mother's behalf, Simon muttered before handing Sabrina a glass cup of wine. Can you just stop apologizing already? It makes me feel like a bad egg. Your mother did nothing wrong and I don't drink alcoholic drinks, she muttered. All right, but take this. It's just wine with no alcohol included, Simon said, holding the drink forward for Sabrina to grip. Thank you, she said, collecting the glass cup. You don't seem bad, Simon, Sabrina muttered. What do you mean by that? Simon said, sipping from his glass as they strolled towards the balcony. You seemed like the mama's boy. What about your father? She asked. Mother, stop it, Simon intervened. I was only joking, son. Eat up, dear, she said, rubbing Sabrina's hand. Sabrina gave a small smile before drinking from the strawberry milkshake beside her, the minute the content settled down her throat. She let out a delightful moan. I grew up with no parents, Simon muttered. But you have a mother. What do you mean when you say you grew up with no parents? Sabrina asked. I thought you said we weren't going to cross the line. Simon muttered. You said no personal issues, but you keep asking questions, Simon made more clear. That's correct. What with me today? I'm not the nosy type. Forgive me if I crossed the line, Sabrina let out. She turned to the side before sipping from the glass cup. Then I guess, you don't really know yourself that well, Simon muttered with a grin. Maybe, you're fascinated by me, he muttered yet again. What? No. Sabrina muttered firmly. No, I mean that we come from two different worlds. A world where you're filled with pain and the only thing left in your heart is revenge. You seem not to want to trust easily and I understand. Simon muttered. All right, you can ask me just one question, anything that you want to be sure of and I promise to answer faithfully, Sabrina muttered, emptying the contents of her cup into her mouth. I have no question to ask you, Simon let out, but Sabrina's expression instantly changed. She wondered why he wasn't going to ask her anything. Simon noticed her mood and decided to lighten it. Oh, I forgot that I actually got one, he said, smiling at her. What if you don't get revenge? Can't you just start a new life with your kids? Simon asked. Was that a question? Those people have hurt me and they deserve to pay dearly. They feel they can just step on anybody they like just because they have one disability or the other or just because they aren't as wealthy as they are, Sabrina muttered. Why ask? Are you planning on chickening out? She asked more harshly than intended. Common, I'm on your side. I just want to know if you are 100% sure of your decisions, Simon muttered. Of course I was the only one who went through all their torment, rejection, and banishment. Sabrina let out. Her mind flashed back to those heart-wrenching times. Tears lazily slipped their way down her cheeks. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry, Simon muttered, using his palm to clean her cheeks. So, what's your plan? How do we get back at these bastards who hurt you? Simon asked. I have been thinking about everything these past few days and I think I have a nice plan. Right now we need to check what happens in the Red Moon Pack, and what challenges Alpha Ray faces. We have to use his weakness against him. Sabrina muttered. What about his child with you? Simon asked. He never wanted the blind Luna and his son would never want anything to do with a father like him, Sabrina muttered. What if he finds out about you? Simon wisely asked. I have to change my name to something else for the meantime, moreover he has no idea that I can see with my wolf eyes. That's a plus for me. Sabrina muttered. I would like to ask a favor from you, Sabrina muttered, staring at Simon's hazel eyes. What? If it is within my power, I would do it, Simon assured. I want you to play the role of being my fake husband, it would make anything we plan more believable, Sabrina muttered. Tisk, are you getting formidable now? If that's what you want, consider it done, Simon muttered. Thank you, I owe you big time, Sabrina muttered, giving Simon a genuine smile. What about we send him a message, one to scare him to his bone marrow? Moreover, he thinks I'm dead. A little message to scare Ray might make him pee in his pants, Sabrina said, and Simon couldn't help but let out a loud chuckle. He was liking more of the person the moon goddess had given him for a mate. All right, what should we send him? Simon asked. Red Moon Pack, search every place. Sabrina is in the pack right now, you must find her or don't come back, Ray ordered with a growl. His hands wouldn't stop shivering while he paced around the house. What's this I'm hearing, Ray? Are you losing your senses? Sabrina is dead, for God's sake, his mother muttered worriedly because her son was going to be stripped of his position as the alpha if care isn't taken. Mother, I know she is alive and I can prove that, Ray muttered firmly before handing his mother the letter his beta handed him a few minutes ago. He couldn't help it as his breath kept coming out in puffs as he paced around. He kept pinching his nails in panic. Death has come to your little pack, get ready, from the rejected one. Where did you get this? She asked. Beta said someone left them with a guard, he muttered, not glancing at his mother once. She walked up to her son before taking his hands into hers. She hoped it would calm him down. He was always acting this way ever since they told him he lost Sabrina and his child, but she wished he would get over it, but it keeps getting worse. Common, this is just our enemy trying to make you scared and insane, and it's working, his mother let out. Mom, I need to see the midwife, I doubt she died, Ray said, a bit sweaty. Calm down, son. You have to keep sane or the councils wouldn't think twice, his mother muttered before pulling him into a hug. She pulled him into a more tight hug before rubbing his back gently. His mother couldn't help but think, who was doing this to her son? The mating celebration is next week, you need to keep the past behind, son, she muttered softly, but Ray unclasped himself from the hug. No, mother, I need to find her and our son, he muttered, walking away. She watched as her son left the pack house and a tear couldn't help but stream itself freely down her cheeks. Sala Crescent pack, so, how did it go? Sabrina asked eagerly, hoping that Ray got her letter. She hoped he did, it would make him insane and get stripped of the alpha position he cherished more than anything. Jake, what happened? Simon inquired. It worked out perfectly well, Alpha. I couldn't get a glimpse of his reaction as you wanted, but I know for sure that he got your message, Jake muttered with a satisfied smirk. You did well, Jake. I can picture how scared he must be right now, Sabrina muttered heartily. Are you sure it got delivered to him? Simon asked yet again. Don't worry, Alpha, there seemed to be a search going on before I left, he must have been in full panic, Jake muttered. What about the Alpha of Dark Howler Pack? Simon asked. He seemed to be distressed ever since he married his wife. They got married after they both found out they were having a child. People say their marriage is cursed because the pack seemed to be doing bad with insolvency in so many aspects. Jake muttered. Did you send them our proposal? Simon asked. Yes, we just have to wait till they invite us over, Jake said, earning a nod of understanding from Simon. Are you going to be okay seeing Kai again? Marcus, who had been standing by the side, quietly asked Sabrina. Of course, he is married and all we had in the past is over, she muttered, before sighing deeply. No matter how much Sabrina tried to see Kai as someone who hadn't offended her in any way, she just couldn't. He was his mother's son and they were a family that needed to pay for their sins. The mating celebration is next week, we need to make Ray really believe and insist that you are alive, Simon muttered, earning a nod from Sabrina. Dark Howler. The door to Kai's room plunged open, showing Tiana. She was in skimpy nightwear. She walked close to the sleeping Kai before allowing herself to peck his cheeks. The moment she did that, Kai instantly sprung up from sleep before pushing her to the floor. What are you doing here, Tiana? I thought I made it clear that you shouldn't step foot in my room. He asked. What is wrong with you, Kai? We are married, for God's sake, and it's only right that married couples have ex-release, Tiana muttered, trying to get up from the floor. We have a child, don't you want to give her a brother to play with? Tiana asked. I never loved you, Tiana, and trust me, I still don't. I would take my responsibility as Camilla's father and that is it. The next time you try to seduce me as you once did before, I won't think twice but to slit your throat, Kai muttered, firmly. What have I done, Kai? Have I done wrong for loving you? She asked in tears. Read my lips, Tiana, I don't love you. Heaven and hell aren't supposed to be together. If you would excuse me, I need to rest for my meeting coming up tomorrow, Kai said before drawing his bed cover to sleep. The thought of having Sabrina close to him right now made his heart hurt. She had left him without goodbyes. Why did she have to leave on their wedding day? They had searched every nook and cranny for her but they found nothing. The door of the room banged harshly. He knew Tiana must have left already. Tomorrow, he was having a meeting with the Sala Crescent pack. He wondered why they were trying to help his pack out with their problems. He twirled to the other side of the bed before closing his eyes to sleep. He had a big day tomorrow to meet with their investors. Sabrina knew that having Kai here was going to be odd, weird, and strange. It has been 3 good years since she last set her eyes on him. This wasn't going to be a tiny coalition like they always had, this was something bigger. She was taking revenge against his family. There would be fighting, and pain that could lead to her death, but Sabrina wanted justice for her parents' death. Sabrina knew she was supposed to be afraid, but death is as natural as love. She was only afraid of leaving her kids behind. Her goal was to watch them grow into handsome men who would find the right woman they would genuinely love. But she was leaving her children behind in this heartless world. The thought of her sons growing up without a parent figure in their lives broke her heart. They would never understand her motive. She hoped that no matter what happens, they just don't hate her. Even if they learned that their fathers were the worst, just maybe they might understand how much she loved them. She was in her room dressing up for the evening with the help of the workers dressing her up. The witch is here, she would make your eyes an orange glint. You don't need your wolf eyes, it is a spell to make you see for as long as you want. She heard the voice of Simon behind the door. The moment she was done dressing and the witch was done, she sauntered downstairs. The minute Simon's eyes landed on Sabrina, he lost every sense of reasoning. The clothing she wore hugged her figure and her hair and face just looked more enticing than before. Sabrina gripped her purse more tightly because the gazes he gave her virtually made her feel bare. She hoped for a distraction and soon enough, Marcus walked inside. Kai is here, he muttered. Are you ready? He asked Sabrina, who nodded. Maddie. Simon muttered. Hey. She muttered, not understanding what he meant by Maddie. Your name is Madison, but Maddie is the pet name I call you as my wife, Simon muttered. Okay, were the only words that left Sabrina's lips. We better don't keep them waiting, Simon muttered as his hands held Sabrina's waist. At first, it felt uncomfortable, but soon enough, it felt normal for her. They strolled down multiple steps before finally getting to a room. I will be with you in a few minutes, I need to use the restroom, Sabrina muttered, making Simon nod. Sabrina knew that having Kai here was going to be odd, weird, and strange. It has been 3 good years since she last set her eyes on him. This wasn't going to be a tiny coalition like they always had, this was something bigger. She was taking revenge against his family. She entered the restroom before letting out some panic puff. Sabrina had no idea that seeing Kai would be this hard. She pushed her hair backward before staring at her reflection. "You can do this, Sabrina," she murmured to herself before washing off her sweaty hands. She glared at the reflection one last time before leaving. "Well, I was shocked that you wanted to help my pack." The voice of Kai filled the whole room. Sabrina was astonished that he still gave her the chills. "Maddie, you're back," Simon muttered. Kai instantly turned to face Sabrina. His eyes were a bit strained with dark circles under them, his hair was disheveled and he looked tired. "Me loose," he muttered those words, and Sabrina couldn't help but fall for those words. He strolled towards her before engulfing her in a tight hug. "I knew you were alive, why didn't you come home? What happened on the day we were to get married?" he asked, but Sabrina kept struggling to pull out of the hug. Sabrina clenched her hand more tightly on her purse before struggling to pull away. "Who are you and what are you doing?" she asked with a fierce look. "Me loose, it's me, Kai," he muttered. "What are you doing to my wife Alpha Kai?" Simon muttered before wrapping his hands around Sabrina's waist. "You don't understand, I know her and…" Kai tried to speak but the door swinging open caught their whole attention. "Wait! I know who you are, it's my enemy, Sabrina, what a small world," Tiana muttered. This was it, Sabrina knew she needed to act up now or they might get the hint that she was the same Sabrina they thought she was. She took a few steps close to Kai before pulling out her hands for a handshake. "I'm Madison Daniel Simon, it's nice having you guys here for business," Sabrina muttered as Kai took her hands for a handshake. Those sparks seemed intact. She tried to pull away but Kai wouldn't let her hand go till she noticed Tiana separating their hands harshly. She caught a quick glimpse of Tiana trying to slap her but Sabrina took a few steps back before gripping Tiana's hand tightly. "What are you trying to do, Mrs. Khan?" she muttered with an evil smirk. She squeezed her grip more tightly on Tiana's hand. Sabrina could swear that she almost saw a teardrop fall on Tiana's cheeks. "Play it cool all you want, you may have changed your appearance with expensive clothing, and your hair but you are still that weak Sabrina that I know," Tiana muttered harshly. She yanked her hand free and you could notice the red spot on her wrist. Sabrina watched as she massaged her wrist. "I know it you. Stop faking your identity," Tiana muttered. "Wait, who exactly are you talking about?" Sabrina asked, giving her a confused and pretentious look. Sabrina knew that Tiana was smart but she needed to make her believe that she wasn't Sabrina. "You can fool all these people, Sabrina, but I swear you cannot fool me," Tiana muttered and Sabrina was getting really mad already. "It seems like this Sabrina who you have mistaken me for must have a great impact on your life, I mean by the way you feel so frightened by the mere thought that I'm her. You make me eager to know what she had done to you in the past to make you show fear, who knows, she might be a twin of mine," Sabrina muttered. "Ha ha ha," Tiana let out a loud chuckle. "That's enough, Tiana," they heard Kai say. "No," she muttered before stepping really close to Sabrina. Sabrina was stunned when she began to sniff her. "Why are you here, Sabrina? Fake name and identity, you think I wouldn't notice?" "Nice try but I'm not stupid," she muttered bitterly with a small chuckle. "What if I'm Sabrina?" she asked Tiana. Follow me outside right now, I need to talk to you, Sabrina." "Wait, Madison, as you claim," Tiana muttered sarcastically. "Tiana, we have come here for business and not to cause trouble," Kai muttered, but Sabrina stopped him. "Sure, outside it is," she said, following Tiana out as the sound of heels clicking on the floor was heard. "There is no need for you to disguise, Sabrina, it's just you and I here, except you want me to deal with you like I always have, so you could explain your motive for taking up a fake identity? Wait, how do you want to be dealt with? Should I toss you through the windows or roll you like a ball before flinging you?" Tiana let out evilly. "There would be no need for that, Tiana. If you think I'm Sabrina, fine," Sabrina said, wrapping her hands together. "I knew it. Wait till everybody finds out about the truth, especially Simon," Tiana muttered. She made a move to walk past Sabrina, but she grabbed her by the same arm she had gripped hard a few minutes ago. "He wouldn't even believe you? Wait, so you're trying to tell me that you bullied and abused the lady Sabrina?" Sabrina asked Tiana, who was already yelping in pain. Sabrina held her by the neck as she allowed her nails to dig through Tiana's neck. She noticed the pain Tiana was going through, and it only made her more excited to see her go through much more pain. "Cut the crap! You must be mad that I got Kai instead. You must have made a little from seducing Simon and now you want to get back at us. How stupid!" she let out before hitting Sabrina in the stomach. Sabrina removed her grip from Tiana before staggering back and clenching her tummy in pain. Tiana touched her neck before closing her eyes to maybe savor the discomfort around her neck. "What happened? You seem to have grown tough, Sabrina, but to me you still that weak little trash to me," Tiana muttered. Sabrina Wolf became mad. It's been a long time since she retaliated or showed herself. She struggled to be allowed to deal with Tiana, but Sabrina held her back. Sabrina walked towards Tiana before pulling her by the hair. "What did you just say?" Sabrina questioned in anger before pulling her hair more tightly. Tiana's words didn't hurt Sabrina one bit, but she was trying to tell her how weak of a person she was formerly, and Sabrina loathed it. Sabrina's grip on Tiana's hair got tighter. Tiana didn't like the way Sabrina had her wrapped around her finger. She instantly pulled Sabrina's hair too. "You think you're tough, Sabrina?" she muttered. Sabrina said nothing as she used her heels to step on Tiana's leg. She watched in excitement as Tiana let out a painful girly growl. Sabrina instantly let go of her grip on Tiana's hair as she staggered back before touching her toes. "You," Tiana whispered slowly in pain. She seemed breathless and totally in pain, and Sabrina would be fibbing to say she wasn't enjoying this little show. "Dessert is best served when cold, and I anticipate that you don't cross me or be ready to get it from me cold, raw, and brutal," Sabrina said with a satisfied grin. "How dare you? Are you threatening me?" Tiana asked. "You think this is threatening? Why don't you try crossing my part? I wouldn't mind wearing the most expensive clothing while they mourn you at your funeral," Sabrina said with a firm and serious look. Sabrina wanted to hurt her like she had once executed. She wanted to torment her, but this wasn't the right time. "What makes you think I'm scared of you? You better pray I don't come for your funeral much earlier," Tiana muttered before adjusting herself. "Ha ha ha, tisk tisk. You better watch your back, Tiana, I might hunt you even in your dreams," Sabrina muttered before walking away. She was satisfied by this little uncertainty she had shown Tiana. She knew Tiana wouldn't really believe she was Sabrina. From the look on her face, she already had a doubt that she was Sabrina. Dark Howler Pack, I don't want that pack to help us out, they have a motive for attempting to assist us out of the blue, Tiana told Kai. Why do you always have to take one's generosity against them? Kai asked her. Can't you see what that woman did to me? Tiana asked, revealing her injured hands and neck to Kai. You started everything, Tiana, what if it was only a coincidence that they look alike? That woman basically looked a bit different from Sabrina, Kai muttered. Are you going to support and believe her over your wife? How ridiculous, Kai! Tana let out angrily. You wanted to make trouble when you asked her to follow you outside, I know you, Tiana, Kai muttered. Since you believe that she isn't Sabrina, at least I'm sure you don't plan on going after a married woman who just happens to look like your ex-mate, Tiana muttered, before walking away. The flash of seeing Madison a few hours ago made Kai want a drink. Could it be possible that she only looked like Sabrina? Were they one and the same person? He wondered what motive she would have to pretend to be Madison if she was Sabrina. Kai wanted to know everything about Madison, he was going to find out every detail about her. He poured the wine into the glass cup before sipping from it. He smiled a little, remembering how he had hugged Madison. The spark he hadn't felt for a long time was there when he hugged Madison, but he doesn't understand why she keeps insisting that she was Madison. She still looked exactly the same, nothing had really changed. She only seemed to be seeing well, and her eyes weren't blue like they always were when she used her wolf eyes. He instantly mind-linked his beta. He wanted to set another meeting with Sala Crescent Pack and obviously get to know Madison Daniel Simon. Sabrina stood outside the Sala Crescent Pack garden, her mind was engulfed in a lot of things. All that flooded her mind was caught short the instant Simon's voice filled the air. She turned to gaze at him before staring back at the flower in front of her. It seems like your ex-mate is still interested in seeing you. Simon muttered. Why? Sabrina asked. He sent his beta here before sunlight reflected, he wants another meeting without his wife, he seems to be apologizing for what happened last time. Simon let out with a cup of coffee clutched in his hands. I doubt. He has moved on, and you know that he is happily married with a daughter, Simon. Sabrina corrected. Who told you such a blatant lie? Being married means nothing, Sabrina, he could always reject his wife for you, Simon said, sipping from his cup of hot coffee. Sabrina took some steps forward before limping close to Simon's ear. It won't happen anyway. I don't want to have anything to do with the son of a murderer, she whispered. She was about to leave, but Simon was quick to grab her hands as she lost count of her steps. She stumbled before crashing hard on his chest. Sabrina, he muttered. He gazed at her face for a few minutes before letting her hands free. Anything? She asked, not staring at his eyes. Sorry to bother you, the voice of Kai filled the air, making Sabrina turn. Now she understood why Simon had held her like that. What an unexpected visit, Simon said. Yeah, I have come formally to apologize for my wife's rude behavior the last time we were here, Kai muttered. Shouldn't your wife be the one apologizing? Sabrina questioned. Right. That's why I have come myself to invite you over to my pack for dinner, Kai muttered. Alpha, your mother wants to see you, a maid said before leaving. I would leave you with the care of my wife, Simon said before inching close to Sabrina, he bent low before pecking her lips. He had always wanted to try this, and this was an opportunity. It might be for a purpose, but he would misuse it to get close to her. Sabrina stood shocked. She couldn't do anything. "Will you be okay till I get back?" Simon asked her. She nodded with a little smile. The minute Simon had left, Sabrina turned to stare at Kai. "Why does your wife get aggressive when she sees me? I mean, what has the lady Sabrina done to her?" Sabrina asked. He said nothing as he took a few steps towards her. She tried to move back, but he handpicked something from her hair. "You had this stuck on your hair," he said, showing her the leaf that he had picked from her hair. "You shouldn't have," she said. "Your husband left you in my care," he muttered. "Milus did nothing to her, actually she was kind and considerate," Kai said. "Then why is your wife showing so much hatred towards me? She seems to be confused," Sabrina said. "It was shocking to me too, because you looked exactly like Sabrina, your face, and even your smile," he muttered. "I wished I was the person you people happen to be confusing me for, but I'm not," Sabrina said. "But would it be coincidental that someone who looked exactly like her wanted to help just our pack?" Kai said, holding her arms. Sabrina slightly froze by his grip on her arms. It took her a few seconds to realize that she had to play it cool or he might catch a hint. She had to say something really fast. "You shouldn't get this close to me or my husband might misunderstand," she said, releasing her hands from his grip. "I noticed the scar on your hand. How did you get that?" he asked, and Sabrina didn't know what to say. He had been the exact person who had taken care of the wound that left such a scar on her hand. "I got burned by a hot pot," she lied. "Hot pot?" he asked suspiciously. "Yes," she said, not staring at his face. What was it to him that he kept asking questions? Was he also suspecting her? "Is there something weird about my scar?" she asked, but he wiggled his head. By the look on his face, Sabrina knew that he was still having his doubts and maybe he needed clear answers. "It happened when I was little. I wanted to steal some meat, but this happened," she lied yet again. "Oh, all right," he muttered. "So, do I get a yes?" he asked yet again. "Yes for what?" she asked. "That I would see you in my pack tomorrow night," he asked. "I can't promise you. Your wife might try to attack," Sabrina said. "She wouldn't," Kai said. "I can only be sure that she wouldn't if caged," Sabrina muttered, sarcastically. "I would have to discuss with my husband. We would get to you with a reply," she muttered. "All right, I have other things to sort out. I hope to see you tomorrow," he said, turning to leave. After he left, Sabrina let out all the weakness she had held in a single puff. She needed to see Simon. Why had he kissed her on the lips? That wasn't the only thing she needed to see him for, but for striking out their plan. With that, she left the garden in search of Simon. The minute she found him, he was in his office scripting something on a paper. "Wow," she muttered under her breath. His office was stunning and enormous, with a glass door that showed a bed. Sabrina felt that he may use it for rest when tired. "What are you doing here, Sabrina?" he asked. She muttered. "Did you miss your pretend husband?" he asked sarcastically. Actually, she tried to say but was caught short by Simon. Sorry for kissing a conservative wolf like you, I shouldn't have, Simon said. Don't be ridiculous, I know you did that because of Kai, Sabrina muttered. I just don't want my thoughtless actions to make you think otherwise, he said. How? She asked. You know quite well that I have liked you and I don't want any little gesture from me to seem like I'm going out of the plan, I just want everything to seem genuine, Simon pointed out. He moved to the side of the chair where Sabrina sat. I understand, she muttered. Fill me with your next plan, he said with a small smile. Simon looked like every woman's dream tonight. He wore nice fitted clothes that flexed his muscles at every angle and revealed his broad chiseled chest. The first two buttons of his shirt were left open, revealing his hardened chest. His neatly combed hair and physique complemented his night look. They had just arrived at the Dark Howler Pack. Sabrina thought was filled with only one thought, seeing Kai's mother again. Her heart was heavy for wrath and her hands were sweaty, but she was all ready to kill this show until her plans were finally set. She was going to keep up with her plan to make that witch slowly pay for killing her parents. Today, she wore a tight red dress that was short and showed a little cleavage. Her hair was tied up in a ponytail, her hands were wrapped around Simon's arm. She gave a little smile to the guards and maid who greeted her. You made it! Kai muttered the instant he set eyes on them. Yes, nice home, Sabrina muttered. She wanted to act like she hadn't been here before. Thank you, Kai muttered as his gaze wandered all over Sabrina's body. Look who we have here, the one and only Sabrina, Tiana called out with a grin. She walked towards them before standing close to Kai. Sabrina's smile flattered instantly, showing a small smirk. You mean Madison? Sabrina muttered with a fake smile. Oh, I don't think you know something. Do you think I would fall for your little trick? If you want to play pretend, fine, let freakin' play, Sabrina, Tiana muttered with a small and evil chuckle. What do you mean by trick? Sabrina asked, not minding her tricky ways. I didn't know you were good at acting, Sabrina. You could have won the Best Actress of the Year for putting up a great act like this, Tiana muttered. I thought we came here so your wife could apologize to us, Alpha Kai. Simon muttered. Tiana. Kai called out angrily. I don't think you expect me to apologize, I have done nothing wrong. This lady here is trying to act tricky and that makes me mad. She has motives, Kai, Tiana muttered. Sabrina was about to lash out, but Simon's voice filled the air. I don't know what is going on, but if your wife here keeps harassing my wife, I guess our investment in your pack is over, Simon muttered. I apologize, excuse me for a minute, let me speak to her. Kai muttered before pulling Tiana by the hands. The minutes they left, Sabrina couldn't help but clench her teeth in anger. Are you okay? Should we leave? Simon asked. No, we still have to stick up for the night. I need to meet with Alex afterward. Sabrina whispered for only Simon to hear. I hope she doesn't get caught, Sabrina let out. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. She would apologize over dinner, she needs to use the restroom. Kai muttered. Sorry, but I do like to use the restroom too, Sabrina muttered. All right, turn left and move straight. There is the visitor's toilet right in front of you. Kai muttered as Sabrina gave him a small smile. The minutes everywhere were crystal clear. Sabrina walked out of the pack house. She strolled to a narrow part before a girl in all black came out. "Did you do what I asked you to?" she asked. "Yes, I have been allotting her the dose for a week now as you instructed." Soon, her powers would go weak, Alex told Sabrina. Clearing her throat, she smiled at Alex before nodding her head. "Her plans are falling into place." Sabrina had only made it inside the pack house and was about to head inside when she noticed Kai coming out of a door. He seemed to look around as his beta walked in. Sabrina hid herself to eavesdrop on the conversation they were going to have. "I got the information you needed," his beta told him. "Great," Kai said with a smile. The goods the people work hard for would get distributed to other packs in exchange for what we negotiated, his beta muttered as a smile crept on Sabrina's lips. Sabrina felt it was an opportunity for her to bring down their pack. Even more, she was going to ruin their goods at all cost. A wide smirk spread on her lips. "All right, I would read up on it. Thanks again and please, Tiana must not find out," Kai muttered. His beta nodded before leaving. The minute he left, Sabrina came out before striding toward Kai. He seemed to have a huge smile on his face when he noticed her presence. "I was a bit lost, the pack house is huge," Sabrina muttered with a sweet smile. "Thank you for helping our business. My wife can be a headache at times," he muttered. "I understand what she feels," Sabrina muttered. "How?" Kai asked. "I mean," Sabrina was about to say but a maid walked towards him. "Alpha, your mother can't make it," she muttered. "Did she say why?" Kai asked. "No, but it seems to be that she is a bit sick," she answered, making Kai nod. "My mother must be feeling sick," Kai told Sabrina. Wishing her a quick and speedy recovery, "I wish I could meet her," Sabrina let out with a small smile. Meanwhile, in her heart, she wished for an early and painful death for Kai's mother. The thought of ruining Kai's plan had been the only thought on Sabrina's mind as they left the Dark Howler pack. She had told Simon about it, but the plan they had laid out didn't seem enough to get the job done as she wanted, but she would wait patiently and see how it plays out. She was outside receiving the cool breeze but got tired and decided to retire to bed, but she stilled when something made a sound. It wasn't just any sound but a footstep. She began to hear the crunch of sticks from a distance. She knew someone was somewhere around. Just in case it was an attacker, she tried to pull out her pocket knife but found nothing. She cursed. Glancing at all sides, soon, shadows began to appear. From 2 it became 4 and then 6. The shadow came closer as Sabrina stood patiently waiting for whoever was coming. Finally, 3 men emerged in front of her. Their faces were clustered and covered with a mask. They seemed huge and tall, and Sabrina wondered if she could take them all. She moved back the instant they pulled out their sharp knives before their eyes glared at her. "I don't want to be a bad girl and hurt any of you. It's your lucky day that I'm letting you go free," Sabrina muttered, but one of the men threw his knife forward as it slit her arm. She stared at her injured arm before smirking. "Cast alabaster babies, let's have fun," she muttered before punching one of them in the face. "Let me guess, Tiana sent you guys?" Sabrina asked, throwing a punch at one of them, making him stagger heavily backward. She stared at her hands, which were stained with blood. She must have broken his nose from the look of things. "Poor thing," she muttered with a little pout, but she was kicked on the stomach as a girly growl escaped her lips. She noticed a rope lying helplessly on the floor. She picked it up as she watched the guy whose nose was bleeding reach after her with his knife. "Not you again, I thought I was done with you," she said before wrapping the rope around his neck. "Tell me, she sent you here, right?" Sabrina asked, choking the rope tightly around his neck. The man didn't say anything. "You seem to be protecting the one who sent you here, why don't you protect yourself before I strangle you to death?" Sabrina asked. "Please don't kill me," the man let out, choking out blood. "I would go easy on you if you answer all my questions sweetly," Sabrina muttered close to his ears. "Why did she send you here, to kill me or rather for me to kill you?" Sabrina asked. "She only wanted us to scare you a little," he muttered as Sabrina stared at the men she had beaten up lying on the floor. She couldn't help it as giddy laughter escaped her lips. "Well, if she knows how to cowardly send you morons over to kill me, why don't I show Diana how bad of a mistake she has made?" she asked, but the man said nothing. "How about I send you back to her in exchange for your precious life?" Sabrina asked. "Please don't kill me, I have a daughter," the man let out as tears fell down his cheeks. He seemed to be pleading hard for Sabrina to save his life. "Go back to Diana and tell her to stop being a coward and face me? Wait, tell her to run when she sees me because she just drew the battle line," Sabrina muttered, making the man nod as he got up before leaving. "What happened here, Sabrina? Are you okay?" Simon's voice filled the air. He rushed towards her before hugging her. "I'm fine, Simon, just a small problem that warranted me to take care of," she said as they pulled away from the hug. "You aren't all right, your arms are bleeding," he muttered with care laced in every speech. She stared at his lips before remembering the time his lips touched hers. Sabrina didn't like her thought one bit. "It's a small wound, nothing you should be worried about," she said, pulling some steps away from him. "Don't worry, I wouldn't do anything stupid, just want to care for your injury," he muttered. "All right, just taking care of my injury alone," she said. Simon led the way as Sabrina walked behind him until they entered his office once again. The office was dark. The moonlight illustrating itself into the office was the only light present. "Why are we here in your dark office?" Sabrina asked ironically. "Nothing, we're just going to treat your arm and that's all," Simon said as Sabrina watched him stagger to the darker side of the office. Soon he was back with a box. "Seat," he ordered. Sabrina watched as he pulled out a liquid substance. Simons's hair fell towards his forehead as he slowly poured the substance on the dry wool. "This might hurt a little," he said, and Sabrina couldn't help but remember Kai. He was this caring, but all along his pack and family are monsters. "Let's just get this done sharply, Sleepy," she said. Simon gazed at her one last time before nodding his head. "The plan might not really work, but my men will try their best," Simon muttered. "I hope it does. It can't go wrong because this was an opportunity given to us by the moon goddess and we can't let it go to waste," Sabrina muttered. "I understand," Simon said slowly before sealing a tape on the wool. Sabrina gave a small smile, knowing that somebody who understood her was here for her. The moonlight shone on his very attractive face. She watched as his hand landed on her hand that was placed on her thigh. "I promise you, Sabrina, all the people who have hurt you wouldn't go unpunished. They would pay painfully for what they had done to you, trust me, he muttered, rubbing Sabrina's hand. Sabrina gave him a genuine smile. He had kept his promise of helping her get back at the people who hurt her, and her rogue friends were practically doing just fine here. His dark eyes shone on hers, making her breath hitch in her throat. The intensity in his eyes made Sabrina lose her sense of reasoning for a few seconds. Sabrina, what happened to not feeling emotions or having to be breathless for another man? Remember what those men did to you, she thought to herself. For some stupid reason, Sabrina was trying to see Simon for who he was, but she couldn't help but compare him to Kai and Ray. When she snarled back from her little imagination, she held all her breath when she noticed Simon's face inches close to hers. His minty breath kept fanning her lips. Sabrina wanted to stand up and leave before things escalated, but it was too late because Simon's lips had crashed on her lips. His lips tasted like candy mixed with tasty pineapple to Sabrina. His hands went around her neck before pulling her closer for a good kiss. They were in an awkward situation right now. Sabrina wanted to pull away, but her hormones wouldn't let her. She kissed him back as they both explored each other's mouths. Sabrina knew this was nothing but lust. She had no feeling for him. She pulled away from the kiss. "I'm sorry, Sabrina," he muttered with a desire still visible in his dark eyes. Sabrina knew they were caught off in the moment. There was no affection in that kiss they had shared. She knew she didn't believe in love anymore. Though Simon was pretty attractive and had the body of a Greek god, but she couldn't be heartless to toy with his heart and emotions. "Thanks for the care on my arm. We are adults and, normally, our hormones can get the best of us," Sabrina muttered before standing up to leave. "This isn't just hormones, Sabrina. I have fantasized everything with you in it. Smooching and kissing you like I just did was heaven," Simon muttered. "Go on, take them to play with other pups, Diana," Sabrina muttered to one of the rogue ladies that took joy in taking care of Cain and Abel. She smiled before kissing her kids on the forehead, one after the other. "I think the plan had been set out well," Sabrina told Marcus, who had been chewing on his meatballs. "Why don't we wait for Simon?" Marcus asked. She said. Before she could utter any more words. Simon walked inside before picking up a banana that was laid on the center table neatly. Seeing Simon after what happened yesterday night made Sabrina feel a bit awkward. It was an odd feeling that got her heart thumping, maybe because she couldn't help but ponder on his last statement yesterday. "How is your arm?" he asked her. Sabrina didn't want to stare at him, but she couldn't help it. "It almost healed, thanks for the help yesterday, but I think it better you show less concern over a small cut," she answered. She peeked at him more clearly to notice that he was wearing a white shirt today that showed the line of his singlet and a kind of baggy trousers that looked like joggers. The minute their eyes met, Sabrina instantly pulled her gaze to the floor before biting on her bottom lips. He seemed to have just woken up from sleep. His hair was a bit messy, but mind you, the attractive messy. "We have been waiting for you, Simon," Sabrina muttered, not wanting to sound or seem affected by his presence. "Something amazing happened yesterday. I might have had more than a good sleep," Simon said as Sabrina let out a cough. He took a seat right next to Marcus before taking a plate to fix himself a breakfast. "You can hit us with your idea, Sabrina," Marcus muttered. "Great, she muttered. "You both know why I'm doing this? Those people have hurt every piece of me, and vengeance is natural for people like them. those people would keep on hurting you and won't stop until they see you in your own grave," Sabrina let out, earning a nod from only Simon. She had already told him what her plan was, so he was basically just sitting down to listen to her say it all over again. "I overheard Kai yesterday night after talking to Alex," Sabrina said. "What did you hear?" Marcus asked, drinking from his cup of coffee. "They have their goods ready to be shipped to other packs. It's like the hard-earned goods they worked so hard for, mainly that goods would help them a little if it gets shipped to the packs safely," Sabrina said. "So?" Marcus asked. "We need to ruin those goods, Marcus. Kai's pack can't get that deal," she said. She stared at Marcus before pushing her gaze towards Simon, who sat silently with his full gaze on his food. "He would still need our help even if that goods get shipped safely," Marcus muttered. "I know Marcus, but seeing what he worked so hard for getting ruined would make him really down," Sabrina said. "I want Diana to suffer and have nothing, the same goes for Kai. I want to see them suffer the way I suffered," she said, staring out of space. "I want their pack members to recognize them as embezzlers and thieves," Sabrina let out. "Don't worry, that's exactly what would happen," Simon said softly as Sabrina's eyes met his warm eyes. "So how do we ruin the goods?" Marcus broke the stillness of the room as all eyes were now focused on him. "We just have to set a good plan on how to attack. I would give that to you, Marcus," Sabrina muttered. "When is it?" Marcus asked. "I think this evening," Sabrina said, rounding the table. "All right, evening it is," Marcus muttered. Sabrina had been in the woods for 3 hours, they were waiting for the goods and there seemed to be no sign. She wondered if she had heard wrongly, but soon enough the footsteps of people coming from a distance were heard. Marcus gave her a nod as a small smile crept on her face. "All right, let's play a fair game," Marcus muttered. Marcus had been taking good care of her as his mother had instructed, and he had also been part of her revenge from day one. He was like the brother she never had. The goods soon became visible as she watched Marcus pull out an arrow. Sabrina watched as he aimed them carefully before letting the stick fly high. The grunting sound of a wolf in pain became visible to my ear. He let another arrow fly again. "I think there are a few of them left, just wait here so they don't catch a glimpse of you," Marcus said, making her nod. She stayed hidden as the sounds of people fighting were the only sound she could hear. Soon, Marcus came back. "The goods have been set ablaze," he said, and a smile crept all over her lips. Sabrina got back to the pack and the smile on her face was quite visible. "La la 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 la," she kept murmuring happily. "Dark Howler pack, what? How did that happen?" Kai muttered before ruffling his hair. "How can this happen, Collins? The people would lose their trust in us," Kai muttered. "We had always done deliveries and shipped items to another pack. It seemed like the attack was intentional," his beta told. "Just leave, I need to think," Kai said as Collins nodded before leaving. He moved towards the table before letting all items fall to the floor. "Oh Kai," the voice of Tiana filled the air. "What are you doing here, Tiana?" Kai let out furiously. "You are so dumb and stupid when it comes to your first mate," she mumbled almost close to his ear. "I don't know what's wrong with you, how can you not know this is Sabrina's doing?" Tiana scoffed out. Silence fell in the room afterward as they both stared at each other. "We had always done deliveries and shipped items to another pack," It seems like the attack was intentional. The last words of his beta lingered in his head. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.